Hello, hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another podcast of Purpose Over Pleasure. In today's episode, we have my lovely better half. Okay, today's perspective is his over hers. And like I said, sometimes I produce solo episodes, sometimes I have guests, sometimes we have the version with me, Nicole, called his and hers. Okay, all right, baby, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Nicole, also known as Coley, and I am his better half. Yes, I will add I am his better
Oh,
half.
here we go, here we go. Okay, I am gonna
We're gonna lower that.
trigger you today.
Oh, hey, you don't trigger
That
me.
that started
Bring
before.
it. I like the
Okay,
challenge.
okay, okay.
I like a challenge.
All right. What are we talking about today? We're talking about recently we hit a 1 year mark of living together, right? Last month.
Hmm.
Okay. So and we sat down. We kind of discussed the pros and the cons of living together,
Hmm.
and we realized that we only had three, maybe four
Mm,
big arguments in
yeah.
1 year. I mean, 3 or 4 arguments in 1 year. That's pretty good fucking odds. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take that. I don't
Hmm.
know about you, but I had some relationship, but that was 3 or 4 arguments a week. Okay, so that was pretty toxic.
Hmm.
So we're gonna dedicate today's episode to that and how we're able to survive and not kill each other
Yes.
in the span of 1 year,
Hmm.
right? And we're gonna touch on some key points. I have my list. You have your list.
Hmm.
Of course, everything you have on your list is wrong. Mine is always right.
Wait, who said I didn't want to kill you?
Exactly, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So, me being a gentleman, just kidding. I'm gonna let you start.
All right.
You always had something good to say.
I always have something nice to say.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
All
Exactly.
right. So, what have what can I say that has helped us and our relationship living together? Definitely communication. We give us communication and giving each other space. I have my own business, you have your business, you work, I work. I love being able to be an independent person, but I also like to have the companionship, and I think that's very important for us both, or in a healthy relationship. Um, Laughing, I love to laugh. It gets your spirits up. Keeping each other motivated.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing because when we're out fighting some bullshit out in the world,
Hmm.
we can't be fighting each other,
No.
and we have to understand we're a team, and it's us against the outside. That's I mean, there's other things that those are like the main ones. Also, not bringing up past things to compare. Yeah, we had those
Yeah,
healthy
we've gone
relationships,
through
but
a few of
it's a
those.
healthy like, hey, so I experienced this in my past, and we're open to it. Where I don't get mad. It's like you bring up your ex boyfriend. I'm like, oh God, this bitch again. Like I mean, you had a past, I had a past,
Hmm.
but when we're talking about it and it's healthy because it allows me to understand where you came from and what you learned and how your relationship was. And so it can help me understand your ways of being in a relationship
Yeah.
and how it can allow me to see how I'm different. It teaches me, but I also know that being a woman, like I know I'm different. I
Yeah.
know what I bring to the table, but I also know what you bring to the table. But I think it's also important when you know who you are, that's going to be reciprocated onto the people or your surroundings. If I was insecure, if I was a drama queen, we would be fighting all the time, and
Yeah.
vice versa.
Now, without digressing, you said something that I want to clarify because you said I'm an independent person.
Hmm.
Let's clarify that because a lot of people think they might think you're saying I'm a strong I'm an independent, I'm a bad bitch, all that shit. So
Hmm.
let's clarify that. So
Hmm.
what you meant is not that I'm a bad bitch, I'm a strong
Nope.
independent woman mentality. Is that you're independent as a person. You
Hmm.
were independent as a person when I met you. I was independent as a person when you met me, and
Hmm.
then together we formed something that I believe was working and it
Right.
worked pretty well.
Still is.
Still is.
Hmm.
So I think one of the key factors is like on my list that I had. I mean, you were to hit communication. So and having fun. That's I had the same those two things I already for sure had on my list. But one thing that I want to mention is that when we discussed that before I met you,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I went through my, trials and tribulations, my toxic relationships, my toxic phase or whatever it is. But I worked on myself,
Right.
and we discussed that. And then you had to go through your bunch of bullshit, just
Mm-hmm.
like me, and you worked on yourself. So when we met, we were, I mean, I can't say we've completely dealt with all our demons. We still deal with our demons as we go.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we started off on a healthy page, knowing that we both worked on ourselves separately from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So when we met, we didn't unleash those demons on each other.
Well, it's like that. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like that post I had sent you way back. I was living that.
Which one? You sent me so
Where it
much,
said,
baby. She sends me so much shit on Instagram.
hey, it's inspiring and it's motivating, okay?
And once it
sends me
stacks
some
up to like
bullshit.
50, then I'll watch them. Okay. Together with her.
I want to work on me. What was it? I want to work on me. I want us to work on each other individually with each other. It was something along those lines. I want to work on myself while you work on yourself, but as a team.
Yeah.
Because people don't understand, we're always healing. We're always going through
Growing.
and evolving. Because if you just stay stuck in the same person, people are going to grow from you, They're just going to start like, that's just not me anymore. And that's why it's important that you have healthy conversations with your partner on a weekly, if you can, daily, or every other day. I ask you questions.
Yeah, we talk almost
because
every night. We
our
have dinners.
like our mentality changes when we're listening or watching things on social media. That plants seeds in our heads, and if we're not communicating, like, hey, what's your thoughts on this, or how do you feel about this topic?
Yeah, that's another key factor. We do that a lot. I know I do that to you a lot. I'm like, hey, babe, what are your thoughts about this? Well, you do that to me too. What are your thoughts about this? Sometimes I like to just ask you shit just to trigger you.
It doesn't trigger me. I like that. I'm telling you, I'm a,
No.
what do you call it?
But that's good. That's good because we
Sapiosexual.
communicate. Yeah, sapiosexual. Oh God, I used to like that word, then I realized so many women like to use that word. Oh, I'm a sapiosexual. I'm a sapiosexual, and I'm like, I remember I stopped using that word so much. I barely use it now, and I'll give an example why. Because this girl one time, we were talking. It was a long time ago, and she's like, "I'm a sapiosexual." I'm like, "Great, tell me the name of the last book you read." And she goes, "Oh, I don't read books." And we kind of ended on that. I was like, "All right, I mean, cool." Because where else would you gain a lot of knowledge from nowadays?
YouTube.
Well, podcasts are fairly new in the realm of education. Okay, but before, that was mostly books, right? Books and listening to people, listening to mentors. So nowadays it's I do both podcast and books. But without going off tantrum, did you talk about the respecting one another?
No, not yet.
So what I had on my list is obviously we both come from a place of love, right? I think everything we do comes from a place of love. The decisions we make, or the way we treat each other.
It's respect, yeah.
That's my second one. Respect each other. Okay, because then, especially at home we don't really disrespect each other ever, and in public we don't do it. Period. I think we established that from the very beginning. I don't think I even had to establish that with you. You kind of already knew that, I will not tolerate that, and I will never do that to you. And
as cliche as it is, treat others how you want to be treated. And if I want to be treated with respect, I have to act like a respectful person.
Yeah.
People don't think or pay much attention. Like some of these girls, oh, I'm a bad bitch, or I deserve respect. Okay, well then be a respectable person. Be a respectful person. What does that entail? If you don't know, go Google it. You can't
but then you ask him, what do you bring to the table? And then, me, what are you, a gift from God? Like, what is
Everybody's
it?
a gift from God these days.
I hate that shit. Everybody's a 10. Everybody's a 10. It boggles my mind nowadays how when you ask him, what are you? You're a 10. If you're such a fucking 10, then why did you need to have a nose job, a boob job, an ass job, all kinds of Brazilian thing, butt lifts, whatever, excuse my language, and then, everything about you is fake. You have half a pound of makeup on your face, and like, clearly you're substituting for something because you don't feel like a 10. Okay, it's like what is that? What is that fat model out there nowadays that kind of went viral or something? She's on the cover of this magazine
Oh, I don't
or
know.
that. She's like really really fat.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless what her name is, whenever.
Right.
But it's funny. Some guy was saying it's crazy how women defend that model. You know, in college she's beautiful, but if you call the girl, "Oh, you're acting like her, like so and so," they get all butt hurt. But if you defending her and saying stop shaming fat people or whatever, but I called you, like I called you like her name, now your butt hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? You know, it's what I'm saying. Like the people are not confident about themselves. Like you, I know you're confident about who you are,
Yeah.
and that's why I don't feel bad necessarily, or I don't have to think too hard if I'm gonna talk smack to you.
Right.
And when we talk
Because
enormous
you know
amount,
I can.
we're talking an enormous amount of shit to each other all the time. Yeah. By the way, what you guys see right now is very professional, very rated right now because the amount of shit talk that goes in this house
The
is
respectable kind.
yeah. It's never disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we never.
Because you still want to have fun with your partner. People think, oh, it's, or even getting to that marriage phase, like you should always want to date your partner because they first once were your friend.
Yeah.
Establishing a healthy, a basic foundation with your partner, having fun, trusting and being respectful, but having fun and still being their friend. Like I had told you, in a relationship, you have to wear different hats because sometimes you may, go to a friend and sometimes that friend's not available. You ask me from a girl's perspective. I have to take my girlfriend hat off
Mm-hmm.
from a friend's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I were to give you the girlfriend perspective, it's different than, hey,
Yeah.
look, if he's my
Yeah.
friend, how would I talk to you? And that's important. Friendships are very important. The 5 closest people that you
Yeah.
surround
You're the
yourself
average
with,
of the 5 close people you surround yourself with. Yeah.
that has to be important.
Yeah.
So if that's a thing, it needs to be the same for your relationship because you're sleeping with that person.
Yeah.
You're spending more time with them, more intimate communication. So of course that person needs to have high values and respects themselves because they're sharing their energy with you.
Yeah.
You're building each other. And
Especially sexual energy.
yeah.
I think that's one of the highest levels of energy transfer out there. And it's funny. Are you looking at my notes and shit?
No.
Because you're reading out
I
from
don't
my list.
understand chicken scratch.
Oh, you don't want to talk shit? Okay. Okay. You know what? Okay. We'll talk about that later.
Sorry.
No, because I'm saying, because, we're talking about communication and having fun, date nights. I was going to talk about that, but you took that off of my list. So stop cheating.
Well, that just means we're on the same page.
Mm.
So sweet.
Oh, okay. Okay. But what I was going to say is you talked about going on date nights. I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
We established that early on too. Lately, I'm not gonna lie, because of my schedule,
Right.
because of how much I have on my plate, the podcast, the work, the business, and all that stuff, it's been kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
But for a good period of time, for months, we had every Thursday,
It was every Tuesday.
every Tuesday was a date night, right?
Right.
Something like that. Yeah. But then now it kind of falls on Sunday sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
When
What's
we go
today? Wednesday.
today's Wednesday. We're not
Yeah.
going date today.
Yeah, we
Today is not even Sunday. Today's not Sunday. It's Thursday.
That's what I just said.
Okay, so that's actually very important too, because we get caught up in this cycle of everyday stuff, and you know how I am. Like I like to be on point every day with everything I do. Since the moment I wake up. Besides today.
Well, that's where you're the masculine side, which is what we should also talk about, is the masculine and
Versus
feminine.
Yeah. Good.
You're very masculine. You're fight, and I gotta go to war, and I gotta take care of business. I'm the one like, all right, but you also need to come back and make time for me, make time for your house, make time for you, which is why we're going on a vacation, a staycation, because people forget when you're working and you're working and you're working, you forget why you're living.
Yeah, I do that a lot. You're the one who usually
Exactly.
brings me back down. I'm
But
always on the
but if you weren't receptive to that, we would butt heads.
yeah.
If you didn't acknowledge the fact that it's important to be grounded, to take time for yourself. Because I know you were like that in the beginning, where it was like, I gotta work, I gotta bust my ass. And I'm like, that was me. I was in that mentality,
Yeah.
my masculine mentality, where I was like, I gotta go work, and then I gotta go to work after I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
Where I did my nail business, and then I did the bar industry. I was waitressing, then bartending. But I had no kids. I didn't have a boyfriend. I had no obligations
Yeah.
to anybody or anything but myself, and that was my mindset. And then I just developed more of my spirituality in it, and I had to and I learned you don't chase things, they come to you, which is how you and I found each other.
And then I came into your life.
And then you never left.
I fall into the sky.
Jesus.
Hey, you prayed for me. She actually, you manifested me,
Yes,
right?
I
She
manifested you.
wrote a list
Yes.
of things you wrote a list of things you want in a man. When, like
Mhm.
2 years ago, 3 years
No,
ago,
2019.
when you
It
were
was
10?
in September.
2019.
10.
Yeah,
Yes, 2019.
you wrote a list, right?
43 items.
43 items. How many of those items did I hit?
I think it was like 38, 39.
Right, I'll take those odds. Okay, okay. You're welcome. I'm here. I'm here.
But
But I want to talk about the masculine versus feminine. I remember that day perfect when I came home from work,
mm-hmm.
right? And I walk into the house. I do my walking into the house routine, blah blah blah, and then you're just like soaked and floating in the bath with, I don't know, rose petals or whatever. You do your thing with a glass of wine. You're just like, this is me time. And like, babe, I was thinking about something today, and I want to share it with you. Yeah. When a woman tells you, I was thinking about something I want to share with you, you better pay fucking attention. Okay? So, because she thought about it for a while. All right? So, and then what you said, I realized today that you told me that you realized that you were able to fall back on your masculine ways and synchronize, right? Resynchronize back with your feminine ways
Mm-hmm.
because of how masculine I am.
Right.
Because you had to put your masculine side down and fall back on your feminine side, okay, which is what is natural to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I agree with you saying that by you falling into your feminine ways actually provides me and gives me more energy, motivation to be more masculine. So it's a cycle.
Right.
By allowing yourself to be feminine, you bring more value into my life for me to be more masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we complete, it's like yin and yang.
Right.
So I remember that conversation we had.
Yeah. I mean, I realized too that I have surrounded myself with a lot of masculine driven women, because we are in that mentality. We got to hustle. We got to make a name for ourselves. We got to do something. And I love that. I love that about the friends, the circle of group that I have. But those same girls struggled to find a masculine man. So we all had that same connection or that same understanding, like, damn, you know. I mean, some of my cousins too, where they have that same, like, they need to, be this person, this masculine person. And I've seen some girls on my social media platforms, and they don't want to be submissive. They think it's wrong. Oh, I shouldn't submit to a man. I used to think I had that mentality, but it was because the guys that were around, I felt like,
Some weak ass fools out.
why am I gonna lower my masculine when you're not
Yeah.
even stepping up? You don't even know how to plan a date. Like, if I have to plan a date, I might as well just take my ass out by myself.
Yeah. That's a key factor that I was when I was recording an episode earlier today, for the boys, right? I was talking about that episode was dedicated to happy wife, happy life.
Nice.
It's bullshit.
Oh.
There you go. Got you. Got him. Right? And I think it is. I think it's complete bullshit, and we talked about that yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
didn't we? And or so a few days ago. Yeah. I think guys get it twisted. I was talking to about it to my barber today as well. Guys get it twisted. Where that motion that quote comes from is totally different meaning than what nowadays people think. Happy wife, happy life. You know what? If you're not happy by yourself,
Yeah.
long story short, if you're not happy by yourself,
Yep.
if you're not happy with who you are, then nothing and nobody will make you happy. Okay.
1,000.
And what that means is that when you say that, all that means is that she's got you by your balls and you are like emotionally dependent on her.
Yep.
And guys
That's very
who are
common.
emotionally dependent on women are weak.
That's very common in the
That's
Latin
weak.
households. And some I knew a few guys who were with a woman because she held his balls in a container, locked it, swallowed the key, and that was it.
That's disgusting.
But then they were cheating on her, and they were
Yeah.
messing around, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's very common. But remember when we first started dating, and I told you we were talking about books. I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, have you ever read The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz or The Mastery of Self?" And you were thinking, "Oh, is that cheesy? Is that about love?" I'm like, "Relax. It's not what you think. It's not a love story." And that was a book that one of my good friends recommended to me after my prior relationship. And reading that book opened up my eyes with myself, love from my parents, love from the relationships that I was in. And it teaches you don't look for happiness. You're looking for something because you don't find it in you.
Yeah.
And that's why I had recommended it to you, because for me, I don't want to go and date somebody who's trying to find happiness in me.
Yeah, but I already established that before I met you. So
Well, yeah. And
I-
I'm glad you did,
yeah,
because
I never really I knew that before because I learned that the hard way. I learned that by dating somebody, in my early 20s or my mid 20s, and that was kind of she spit that back in my face. I was like, oh, that hurts. And so the lesson learned from that relationship was never, ever, ever invest my happiness into somebody else.
Yep. Because
So,
they can easily, they're
they'll
in
take
charge
life.
of it.
Yeah.
They want to toss it.
Yeah, I will never allow, never place my happiness in somebody else's hands. And I think every person should do the same. But on one thing, since you hit all of the bullet points on my list, you didn't hit one. Okay, and I think one of the key
Let's see,
factors
maybe I didn't finish. Maybe I'm not done.
no,
let's see.
this
Let's
one
go,
I know
let's go
for
ahead,
sure
go ahead.
is controversial. Okay, because we still kind of butt heads about this sometimes. I set the rules
Where are my
straight.
boxing gloves?
I set the rules straight in this household from the very beginning. Remember, you set certain rules,
Right.
but I set certain rules straight in this household from the very beginning because that's what was important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Such as, I like living in a clean house.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Okay.
God you're clean, because if I
Yeah.
would have to pick up,
Yeah, no. So that the house needs to be. I don't expect it to be spotless
Right.
every time,
Right.
obviously, and I clean up after myself too, and I help you out even though recently I just don't have much time. It's easier for me to pay somebody
right,
because it's just not worth my time.
right.
And I like home cooked food. You've been good. You've definitely been.
I ain't no Betty Crocker, but I can read some.
Yeah,
directions.
my expectations. Been cooking a lot more. I said we're gonna have no arguments, and if we do, we're just gonna cool off and then get back to it. Okay, so we've been on top of that, and then sleeping on the same bed. I think only one time I slept on the couch, but that was an accident. Remember, I was watching TV, so we got into an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I was and I went. You
I
went
was so mad at you.
because I slept on the couch.
Yeah.
I legitimately fell asleep because I was watching TV.
I literally was like,
not because I was mad.
This
It's like this motherfucker. Yeah. No, I legitimately. I told you, I legitimately felt bad, but I didn't.
Well,
sleep on
that's
the
good.
couch.
I'm glad that you have that
Yeah.
mentality, because if
Yeah.
you were like that, I just couldn't.
No, I think it's important that so those four things I established, and it's funny because, and I'm gonna admit this, was like a couple of weeks ago, I came home, and I don't know what it was. It was like your shoes, a bunch of your
Oh, yeah.
shoes.
He yelled at
'cause
me for my shoes.
Yeah. First of all, I don't understand how is tiny
not even
person
that
like you,
big. They're like
exactly.
6
Yeah,
feet,
but there's like
6
six
inches.
pairs out there, babe. They take up space.
Yeah, your big ass shoe takes up like half of our shoe rack. Can you blame me?
Oh, then I have your
Is that
little
size
daisy baby
11?
shoes. Hey, first of all, 11, 11
Jesus.
and a half, okay? Second of all, you had like a stack of shoes in there. So I
Well, they're
came
little
back home
feet.
and there's little happy feet shoes everywhere. And I was like, God damn it, this fuck. So so I go straight to to the bedroom or somewhere, right? And I'm like, like, babe, like, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't yelling. I was like,
Yeah.
babe, I'm tired of putting your shoes away. Like, can you put your shoes away? Because this is getting out of control. Shit.
Yeah.
I just walked out, right? And then you did your thing. You come out. You're like, Alex, I don't know. You're like, don't you ever come into this house and tell me something with an attitude before you greeted me and gave me a kiss first. Because in this house, we come from a place of love, happiness, peace, and communication, and you wanted that established from the very beginning, so we're gonna keep it that way. And I was like, I can't fucking argue with her right now. She's right. And when you're right, you were right. I was like, I wanted that, and I was like, shit, that's it. I can't, you had it. I was like, okay, sounds good.
And I think that's really important because some people are afraid to establish those type of boundaries because they're trying to please somebody else instead of pleasing themselves. And I think it's important that you don't forget what you need for your own safety, for your own happiness. And the past older version of me would have just let it slide and I wouldn't have spoken up about it. Or I would have been scared because I grew up with the yelling, hostility in the house. And, if I say something, why are you talking back to me? Blah, blah, blah. I just couldn't. So you being receptive of me saying that, because I'm coming from a love and light place. And I think that's very important that we've established that anything I tell you, it's coming from a place of love, because I see things that you don't see and you see things that I don't see, and we will never know each other as best as we know ourselves, because we're always evolving, and sometimes we don't even know ourselves, but our partner knows us.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
That's very scary. But that's why having constant communication, asking questions, picking your partner's brain, because it keeps your brain flowing and like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. Remember we went on that date and I asked you.
Which one?
One of our first dates to that sushi spot in Glendale, no, Burbank. And I asked you, what would you rate yourself?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what? I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So I
do
put
know
you on
now.
your I put you on your toes.
Yeah.
And those are the type of conversations that I was asking, not to test you, but to see where your mind's at. Because I knew that my partner, his brain needed to flow. And how you responded, I wasn't going to judge you on how you responded, but I needed to know how you carried yourself. What were the thought processes, how you thought, or how you would respond to that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now I do know. I think we talked about that one more time, and then I had a definite answer for you. Yeah. It was not a 10, okay? Like most of you bad bitches say, I'm a 10. I'm a 10. No, you're not. You're a 5 on a good day with makeup on and if you get plenty of sleep.
Well,
But-
I working at the bar, I had that guy, remember, who came up to me.
Yeah.
And he was dressed really nice, but I can tell something was going on. And I checked up on him. Hey, you good? Can I get you anything else? And that's when he told me, he's like, what would you rate me?
That's
And
sad.
I'm like, wait, what? What would I rate you? I don't even know you.
Yeah.
And so then I flipped the question on him, and he's like, a 4. And then prior to that, he told me that his wife left him and this and this and that. And I gave him the scenario. Well, if I told you you're a 10, would you believe me? He's like, no. And I was like, why not? And he explained to me, and I said, okay, what would you rate me? It's like, oh, you're an 11.
Okay. See, let's dissect that situation. The fact that he had to ask you
Right.
to rate him
Exactly.
is already sad.
Oh, hold on, let me finish. So
It gets better.
I told him, you rate me as 11. I was like, would you believe me if I told you I got cheated on? He was like, who would cheat on you? And I'm like, do you see? It's perspective. You may think I'm a great person and I'm beautiful and this and that, but somebody else didn't think that. It's perspective. How you carry yourself. I'm carrying myself how I carried myself all the time to that person who had cheated on me. Hey, things happen. But how you carry yourself around other people is going to show them how you rate yourself.
Yeah.
So that's very important that people ask themselves, what would I rate myself? How am I being as a person? Like, who am I? Do I feel like a 4? Okay, why do I feel like a 4? What do I need to do so that I feel like a 5? Maybe I'm not at a 10 yet, but what can I do to be at a 5 or a 6?
I mean,
What do those people
five
do?
is an average. 6 is like close to an average.
Yeah.
You know, 8, 9, and 10 is an outlier. 9 and 10 is definitely an outlier. 5 and 6 is an average. But God forbid you tell a woman she's a 5 or a 6. Oh my God.
Well,
Everything goes to hell.
I mean,
You know that for a fact.
I don't think I'm average. I think I'm a good like 6, 7. I think I have some things to work on, but for the most part, I think I have it. I have a good head on my shoulders. I've always carried myself very well, respectful. I have a good sense of humor. I'm very witty.
You're a 10 for me, babe.
That's all that matters. Oh my God.
Now, before you yell at me later that I didn't tell you to fix it, you might want to fix your headphones because they're
Why,
popping.
they're falling?
No, you can fix them forward and then pop your head.
Oh, maybe that's how I like it.
Because I'm going to hear, babe, you didn't tell me in the middle of podcast that my headphones are making my hair look bad.
Doesn't my hair look
So
bad?
to prevent that, I'm telling you right now.
Oh, maybe it's a style. Oh, wait.
All right, fix it.
There we go.
But anyways, going back to that dude. First of all, if you're a guy and if you're asking a girl that you just met to rate you, that's fucking sad.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is.
that's sad. That is a prime example of having low self-esteem. Okay, first of all, you even if you don't establish yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, if that's the question that comes to your head, that's sad. Okay, and as men, it's absolutely unacceptable for you to walk around and ask other women to rate you.
It's kind of
Okay,
painful.
that's something that women do. Okay, I never gave a shit about what a woman would rate me. Okay, to me, meeting a woman was kind of like, going to a little mini battle. Like, fuck it, let me just see. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes, I have a chance. Because you ladies have that sixth sense. You can sense confidence. If a dude is not confident, you can smell through that bullshit.
Such a turn off.
Okay, and that's what I don't like about this pickup artist, because they give you these techniques like, oh man, you walk into her, you say this catchy phrase, and next thing you know, she's gonna be charmed. No, women can sense through the bullshit. How many pickup lines are you gonna learn? First of all, okay, you spit that 5, 10, 15 minutes, then you run out of bullshit to talk about, and then the real you comes out, and it's gonna be like, and now she knows you're full of shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so your game is only gonna be as good as how many pickup lines you're gonna learn. So if you don't have enough confidence in you, you just won't be able to carry yourself, carry a conversation. Okay, or maybe even if you score one date or something, she's gonna still read through your bullshit.
Yeah,
That's what a lot of dudes don't understand. That's why I don't believe in this pickup artist shit. Just invest in yourself, work out, develop yourself as a man, take care of yourself, manscape, dress properly, smell good. That will give you the level of confidence you need. You'll go out there when you feel good. You're like, hey, cool. I don't care if she's a 10. I'm gonna go say hello.
That goes back to you don't chase, you attract.
Yes.
That's everything. It's in money, it's in business, it's in relationships, it's in love. You can't expect to receive all of that if you're not being that energy.
Yeah.
And went like for myself, if I, when I was single and I would ask, oh, well, what do you do for a living? Oh, well, or what's your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
Play video games.
Oh, just go out drinking. I'm like, okay, do you go to the gym? Do you go, play a sport? Do you like, how do you like to use your spare time? And when they couldn't really tell me, I had to, I knew I was hiking. I was in the gym, not as frequent, but I was, pretty active. Um, I would go out, but dancing for me was my fitness. That was my stress reliever. You can ask any of my friends. I go out, I dance. I don't try to hook up. I don't try to look for me. I'm like, I'm going home by myself or with my friends. But other than that, I needed to have not an scapegoat, but something that kept
The
me
outlet.
doing things
Yeah.
that I enjoyed. And when I hear that guys don't have that, I'm like, what are you doing with your
I'll
time?
tell you what they do with the time. I tell you, this is exactly the type of shit that I talk about and I dedicate my entire podcast to, right? To help these men. What they spend their free time about, and it's the same conversation I had with Kyle when we were recording last episode, is that they waste their time doing shit like playing video games, okay?
Swiping.
Overeating, okay? I'm not even talking about swiping because to be able to be successfully swipe on social media, you have to be able to hit certain standards. Okay, so we're not even getting there. So way before that, to be able to compete in the game of dating, you have to get rid of bullshit habits like I said earlier, playing video games, overeating, not working out, watching porn, doing drugs, drinking alcohol, engaging in different vices, wasting your fucking time, like
Hanging out with
all
certain people.
oh,
Hanging out with the wrong people, too.
wrong people, like all of that, like it boggles my mind nowadays, especially when it comes to porn industry. Okay, we went from porn in and out of itself is destructive to men, and I tell you that as a guy. I'm not afraid to admit it. I've watched tons and tons of porn in my life, right? I'm a grown ass man. I'm not afraid to admit it. Every guy does it.
So do
Okay,
girls.
but and women do it too, but it's destructive because it has gotten out of control now. There's shit that they do that sometimes you can't replicate in real life, but your expectations are now at that level. And when you're not getting what you want, and on top of that, you can't even communicate with your partner what and how you want things done, then you're like all pissed and shit goes downhill from that. Like your expectations are here, but your partner's like right here, but you can't even tell her, him or
Yeah.
her how to do certain things because you just don't know how to communicate that. So
Yeah.
that sucks. Okay, and then hours and hours of playing video games, eating junk food, garbage, drinking, going out with your boys, watching sports. Like I can't stand when motherfuckers ask me, "You don't watch sports? Icky, you don't watch sports? Like what? You don't? I don't. I don't give a shit." And also, does that these teams don't make me money. The only jersey with the only sport and athlete's name that I ever wear is Kobe Bryant. And the reason why is because Kobe Bryant was also, I consider him a philosopher, just like Bruce Lee. Because what he's done in his career and the Mamba mentality is very, very powerful. Okay, I'm a Kobe Bryant generation. I'm not Michael Jordan generation. I'm Kobe's generation. So I was very upset when he passed away. So that's the only athlete that whose name I wear on my back. Other than that, I don't give a shit about no baseball team, no basketball team, no football team. I watch UFC because I love martial arts. To me, that's something that I always loved doing and watching. But that's as far as that. I still don't wear McGregor's or Khabib's name on my back. I respect them. I admire them. I love watching them fight, but never gonna wear their names on my shirt. So, but these dudes like hours and hours of watching football games all day long. Fantasy
They
this,
call them,
fantasy
oh,
that.
we're
Like,
going to the
bro,
playoffs. Who?
yeah, yeah,
You?
yeah. Your team?
Are you
Yeah.
the water boy?
Have you made any? Has your team made you any money? Have you made a
Right.
dollar off your team? And if you're good at it and you
Yeah.
make your money,
Yeah.
gambling. Because
Yeah,
I
of
have a couple
course.
of
Yeah,
friends.
because it's a business.
They gamble and they parlay and they make good money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, cool, dude. You're doing your shit. Like you checking your stats. You following the players. Who's injured? Who's not? Who's blah blah blah. Cool. You make your money. But other than that, I can give two shits about that. So those are the type of behaviors that prevent men from gaining confidence. Okay, not gaining confidence prevents you from being competent. And when you're not competent, how do you expect to compete in the game of dating?
How do you expect to lead a family?
Oh, that's a whole nother level before we even get there. So, and that's why, there's a very little minority of dudes out there that get all the ass. And I'm sad
Oh,
to say
yeah.
that, but I've seen that. I for dudes it's like that. We're not born unlike you ladies. All you gotta do is be born pretty, put some makeup on,
Cute toes.
have cute toes. Yeah. Now just talking about the things that are important for me. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. Cute toes is a deciding factor for me.
So
Yeah,
does that mean you're paying for my next pedicure?
yeah. I've done it before. Uh, but what I'm trying to say is, um, without confidence, you're not gonna be competent. Without confidence, you're not gonna be able to make any decisions. You're not gonna be able to take calculated risks. You're not gonna be able to to approach a woman and say hello and talk to her. Because all it takes is confidence. And like I said earlier, you girls are able to filter through that bullshit.
But I do want to say something. Working as a bartender at a gentleman's club, I had a lot of men there, right? Come to the bar, and
Great place to meet
a
women,
great place to meet women.
quality women.
Anyways, no, the girls are great there. They're good, cool girls. Some of them.
You're referring to the strippers?
Some of them. So
Probably the minority.
the the problem with these guys is they'd come and and ask me like, oh, you're not a dancer? I'm like, I'm behind the bar serving you alcohol, sir. That should be a common sense question. And
Well, I think there are some clubs out there.
yeah,
That,
no, yeah, I get that. But what was my point? Some of these guys, they don't really. They're chasing the P, but they're not willing to bring any type of anything to the table.
By the P, you mean?
The pussy.
Whoa.
Sorry.
I might need to lower the volume on that word. Just kidding.
And these girls, nothing against, hey, you want to hustle, you want to do your OnlyFans, do what you got to do. Hey, you know what? But they're making it so easy for these guys to just pay money or to take them out, wine and dine, and then they're done.
Some of those guys actually were taking those strippers on dates and wine and dining them.
They would want to. They would reach out.
That is
Like, I follow
ridiculous.
some of the girls, and they'd say, I don't want to go out on a date with you. Don't try to be in my
That's
DMs trying to
ridiculous.
take me on a date. Either coming to throw money or you're not. Don't come here and try to ask me how my day was. This is a business, and these girls are hustlers. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, look,
Oh,
do you want
yeah.
to spend money or do you not? Do you want to buy a dance or do you not? Because I don't have time here to be chit-chatting. Time is money.
Is that what I tell you?
Oh, yeah, I would
Like
see
that?
it.
You see, that's a prime example. I swear to God, that is a prime example. So that's what those girls were telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew one dude in college, right? He fell in love with the stripper. And he's like, dude, she
I'm
is
in love with
different.
the stripper.
Yeah, right. She's different. I feel her energy, and you feel her energy because every week, your dumbass goes to that club and spends hundreds of dollars on her. Of course, you're gonna feel her energy.
These girls are
Okay,
actors.
they're actors. So it's sad, and it's coming from you, right? Who heard these girls tell you the shit, right? So guys, please, for the love of God, stop falling in love with strippers. Stop going to a strip club and paying for some ass. Stop wasting money on that kind of stuff. These girls are just using you and abusing you. Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, who am I to judge? Who am I to say maybe they're still human, they still have feelings, But when you're in the facility of a strip club,
Yeah.
they're there to make money. Don't go to a
Yeah.
strip club trying to fall in love with a girl. It's just not going to happen. You're going to get played because they want your money.
Yeah, and I'm not judging. Don't get
Exactly.
me wrong. I'm not judging. That's the reason I'm talking to guys. I'm not bashing on strippers. Don't get me wrong. That industry, prostitution, P, whatever you called it earlier, the industry of P, let's call it that way, is the longest existing professional
It's not going
service
anywhere.
ever, and it will probably exist until the whole planet will, die.
They're the last one
Okay.
standing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not going away. So it's been like that, and it will be like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because women are not denying it.
Oh, yeah, of
Because
course not.
I'm yet to meet a feminist, okay, or a woke person who's like, let's shut down all those strip clubs. So you're telling me you're a feminist and you pro this and you pro that and you pro choice and you empower women, but not one of you guys has ever said we should shut down all those strip clubs and stop men from grabbing onto titties and asses. No, like nobody talks shit about that. You know?
There's a waitress that she was so against uh, guys touching at the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, did you forget that you work at a strip club?
Yeah.
She's like, well, they should ask. Ask. Well, wait, what? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, you should. They should be respectful. That was one thing I did see. Some guys are being a little touchy, but that's a whole other topic.
The fact that I'm sorry to say this, but if you are a stripper and you're complaining about guys touching you, it's kind of like I'm gonna go to an ice cream shop and I'm not gonna get any ice cream, or I'm gonna go to like a frozen yogurt store, but I'm not allowed to get a sample. You know, like obviously it's gonna happen.
Well, being a bartender, there was some guys that would try to like grab. No. You stay on the. You want to dance or you want to grab up on somebody? I can go grab you a girl. You don't touch me. You do not touch me. You can throw money. I'll stay behind the bar. You stay on the other side of the bar. But that's where you established your boundaries. Being a bartender, I could do that. Dancer, I'm sure they can. But hey, they have their rules. And women forget, hey, you can create your own boundaries. You should be creating your own boundaries outside of the, not even talking about in the strip club industry. I'm just talking about women. They want men to respect them, but they're not setting boundaries for themselves.
Speaking of boundaries, I'm glad you mentioned that, because another key factor why our relationship has been working out well is because we have certain boundaries that we don't let each other cross.
Right.
Like, and those boundaries are, let's just give an example, right? One of my boundaries is that I was never cool with you going out to like clubs and girls' nights and blah 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 all that. Once in a while when you go to girls, but because I know you like dancing, you dance, and you take classes for that. But for me that was a big deal, and I didn't have to go into much detail with you because I already knew you were not like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of one of the things that I mentioned, and I don't accept guy friends, just like I don't have any girlfriends. I have acquaintances, I have work professionals, people I do business with, or I work with, but you don't see me have any girlfriends. I don't have spend time, have lunch with my girlfriends or in constant communication with my home girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the same thing goes for you, And had you crossed those boundaries, it would have been a big problem. So
But
I think it's important.
We
to have
also
boundaries in a
did
relationship.
establish that conversation where you had asked me, who are your friends or what guy friends are you? But I told you from the get-go, these people have meaning behind their friendships. I don't talk to them all the time. They give me good information.
Yeah.
They provide good success in helping me build as a business. You don't see them text me, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Let's hang out. Like, no.
Yeah. Well,
they're
that's
respectful.
what I'm talking about. Like, and dudes need to understand that too. In a guy's world, if you're friends with a female and the female has a serious boyfriend or man or whatever, you slowly distance yourself. Okay? That's an unwritten rule. If you're dumb enough not to understand that and you don't distance yourself from that woman, you're gonna have a problem with her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's a given. And I've seen that with my own eyes. So guys need to understand, if that happens, you can be your friends with a girl, whatever the dynamic is. But the second she gets a girlfriend, a wise woman would know how to establish that and shift away. If she's not smart enough, then you as a guy should know that you will not disrespect that dude by hanging out with his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Okay? And because in his eyes, you're a competition. That's just how men are wired. And that's I think that's only natural to mention. And one more thing I want to talk about is, this is the last thing I want to talk about on my list. I know we're not married, but we've been living together. She had to say that. Living together. So we pretty much have like
I think I'm in a size 4 now.
Oh God, here we go.
Sorry, go on.
Here we go. You touched on marriage before. We're living together. We do everything like a married couple, right?
Right.
What people think marriage is the whole point of marriage is for two people to live happily ever after, for two people to be happy in relationship, okay?
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily true. I think the point of marriage is, okay, is for two people to create an environment where they can both, like you mentioned, grow together, alone and together, spiritually, mentally, physically, right, emotionally, and ultimately create that environment, that nest for their children to grow up in that healthy environment. So it's not so much about like, I'm gonna marry you just so I'm happy. No,
Right.
it's creating that environment where you both can strive and develop together and then bring an offspring into the world that can grow in that environment. That's just my opinion.
It's more than a ring, and sometimes these girls, me being 35, some girls want to rush it. Back when I was 20, in my late, or no, my early 20s, I wanted to be married by the time I was 25. But I just thought 25, I should have figured everything out, have my family, start
Yeah,
my kid,
I thought so too.
and have my like everything, kids and everything. I was 24 and I'm like, hell no. The guy I was with, hell no. Not happening. I lived with him. We lived together. I did not want to marry him. And I'm so glad that I did that. My family was against us living together, but I'm so glad I did because I knew I'm not marrying him. There's no
Yeah.
way I will ever want to marry that guy. And as I gotten older, I'm like, now not hits me, but I'm like, it'd be nice, but only because I know we have such a good relationship
Yeah.
living together where it feels peaceful.
As long as you know when to be quiet.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're saying. I don't speak that language. What does
Mhm.
quiet mean? Can I get a dictionary, please?
You know what I'm talking about.
So marriage it's a serious thing, just like having
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And those are conversations where, hey, certain things in a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship shouldn't stop because you're married. You shouldn't stop dating your partner. You shouldn't stop building your partner. You
Don't-
should, it's just, yes, it's just a title, but I think it is just a title, but it also is a stronger bond.
Yeah.
But again, it is a word. I mean, we've talked about, the big wedding and all that. Like, it's great, but it's something that two people share. And who they want to invite is up to them. And as traditional as I would love to have that, some of the people I don't even see, I haven't heard from, haven't known who we are,
Yeah.
haven't made the effort to be intentional in our relationship. And
Yeah.
being intentional in a relationship is very important, which will establish a strong marriage. Because if you're not intentional in your partner dating, what makes you think you're going to be intentional in a marriage with that person? And that is something that you or being in a relationship, you have to understand everything you do, you need to have intentions on going somewhere higher than where you are.
Yeah.
And marriage is more than just a ring. Even the ring has to have some type of meaning
Yeah.
because it's not just a ring. It shouldn't just be a ring. The vows should not just be something you just, oh shit, I should have done my vows already and tomorrow's the wedding. It's like, no, you got to make time for that. Just like you made time to be in a relationship.
Well, for women, it's status. Marriage for women is status.
For some,
For
not for
majority of
me.
women, it's a status. For men, marriage is actually, if you really want to know my perspective on that, it's like, I guess it's time to get married, or I guess it's time to settle. Okay. For women, it's like, I can't wait to get married. I never met. I mean, there are some dudes who, since a very young age, they're like, I want to be nothing but a father, and I salute that. Right? If you genuinely want to be a father or a mother, my respect to you. But we don't walk around saying, man, I can't wait to get married. I can't wait to get married. To me, it's like, okay, cool. I'm 35, 40, I've done my fair share of damage, whatever. I had fun, and I think it's time to settle down. For women, it's like, I can't wait to get married. So that's the different dynamic that women and men have about marriage. Okay, and I think we can dedicate a whole entire podcast episode to that. I think we should, because it'll be a good dynamic to cover. and also talk about the benefits, if there are any, to marriage for men nowadays.
Aren't there discounts on like buying property or like land?
No,
Oh damn. It
no.
used to be, right?
There's some tax.
Or there's
Tax
tax
cuts. That's it.
breaks.
Yeah. Those first of all, not every married guy owns a business.
That's true.
Okay.
Well, lucky for you, we both do.
Yeah, it's good business write-offs, but yeah, but I think we covered everything, right? So let's just to go over the list that we had right here. And I've been taking notes, right?
Mhm.
Again, this episode today is dedicated to how to have a successful marriage, and we're talking from our experience,
Right.
okay? And what we discussed today was obviously everything you do, you got to come from a place of love. You got to love each other, respect one another, right? Communication is key. That's a big one. Have fun. Just have fun with each other, okay? Which goes connected to the date nights, right? Date each other, continue to date each other. Know your roles, masculine versus feminine,
Mhm.
okay? Just know the purpose of marriage
Or
or purpose
discuss.
of having a relationship with each other, right? Establish boundaries, okay? And am I missing anything?
Know each other's love language.
Yes. Yes.
Love language is very important. Whether you need to buy the book, Google it, take the test,
Yeah.
ask each other questions, but if you don't know my love language and you're not doing things, I'm going to think you don't love me.
Yeah.
But then I have to understand, how do you feel loved so that I can do things so that you can feel it.
And
Even
ho-
though I know you
ho-
love yourself, but I want you to feel even more loved.
Yeah.
And
And
I
how to
think
give love.
Right.
Because my love giving is different from your love giving.
Yeah. But one of
But
our
I
big
know you like some of my love giving.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
There we
Like
go.
where we kind of like
Yeah.
we were what were the gift giving?
Yeah.
Because I remember that one time I went to your apartment and you're like, "Oh, I got you something." I was like, "I got you something
Yeah,
too."
that was funny. That was funny. But we can talk about that.
Yeah, I
also.
think-
That's a lot of discussion points out there as far as just that in and out of itself.
Yeah.
Because I'm still learning. You better at that than me. But then again, that's not something that is attached to masculinity.
Love language?
Yeah.
Oh no, but you're saying if we needed to add anything else that
Yeah.
help our relationship, and I think you were when we first started the relationship, we talked about it. It was very vague, but you've been open to learning more about it. So you
Yeah.
knew about it, but now I think you know more. If you
Yeah.
established the understanding, but knowing that is very important
Yeah.
in a healthy relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we hit a lot of key points. I don't want to beat the dead horse, right? So unless you have anything else to add to this beautiful list of things that we believe are important, we can call a wrap, right?
You did talk about like the physical, like some type of physical working out, where that I think is important for each person
As
to
a
establish
bonding,
as a
yeah,
bonding.
yeah.
Whether it's
'cause we work
together
out
or
together,
separate, because
like going on hikes and working out
hikes,
together,
because
yeah.
it's a part of bonding,
Together activities, let's call it that.
but it's also keeping your health going. Because if I was like just like I lose weight pretty often, or I have a fast metabolism,
Mm-hmm.
and if I just let myself go and I didn't want to eat, and if I wasn't trying to go to the gym, like
We would have a
we'd have a
problem.
problem.
Because gym for me is fitness for me.
And
is
that's the
extremely
same thing
important.
for me. Like if you weren't doing anything, you were just sitting on the couch, not going and being active, or you didn't want to do hikes. Because I had dated some guys that were just like, "Why do you want to go on a hike? Can we go later?" I'm like, "No, what do you mean? You don't do shit. Like you work and what kind of like you go play basketball." Like for me, it's love language. You know, it's we're trying to make each other healthy, or not make each other healthy, but we want each other to be healthy.
Yeah.
Physically, energetically, and I think that is important too to establish. It doesn't have to go to the gym, but go for a walk, go on a hike, go swim, or do some type of physical activity that's gonna get your blood flowing. Because what happens when your blood flows, it helps you feel better about yourself. And the other is not feeling that, then it starts to crash. You start to argue, and oh my God, why aren't you working out? And then the talking
Yeah.
shit, and yeah,
No, I think that's important too.
yeah. But I think
Hmm.
that's pretty much it for the most. We
I mean, let's not forget.
relax,
Yeah.
okay?
Hey,
Relax. This is a
this
PG
is a PG podcast, but it would, it's behoove me to admit the
sexual
fact that
relations.
sex is important,
Very
and
much.
and
That's also another thing.
whether it's like, sex itself or
Mhm.
sexual kind of, games or
Activities.
activities or talking smack or teasing. That's important. So keep that up, guys. I don't want to, since we're keeping it PG-13,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the weeds of it. Plus, it's none of your fucking business. But other than that,
But
it's very
establishing
important.
the communication within your sex life is important.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's things that I like that in the beginning you didn't like, and then I was like, oh, sorry, my bad. And then we talked about it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe
Yeah.
certain occasions this will happen or whatever, but establishing
Which falls
that.
back into the communication.
Right.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we covered a lot, and I hope you guys got value from it. We're again, we're not the experts, but I think we've learned from our own experience, and we're just here to share it with you guys. So I hope you guys took some notes. I hope this helps you guys in your relationships, your current or your future relationship, because what's in the past is in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, feel free to leave any comments. Please like,
Questions.
subscribe, questions, because we will be doing Q&As. But other than that, I'd appreciate you guys show us some love and support by clicking and subscribing and sharing this content. And we'll see you guys next time.
Toodles.